So you are the 420 lawyer.
Yeah, that's what people say.
So what does 420 mean?
420, it's a slang term for marijuana or for cannabis, or to indicate somebody's marijuana friendly.
I've heard a lot of stuff over the years, like 420 was code for something. Do you have any idea where that came from?
There's a lot of people taking credit for it now. There was one rumor it was a group of law students at Harvard University. They'd all get out of class at 4 and meet at 420, and they would say it's 420. And then there's a lot of other people that are under the same kind of circumstances that are taking the credit for it. Nobody really knows where it came from,
but everybody knows what it means.
It does. Yeah. You get a license plate, a personalized license plate that says 420. That officer behind you is going to know what that means.
So how did you start working on 420 related cases?
Well, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I do all kinds of criminal cases, but I kind of have settled into a niche of defending marijuana cases. I really don't know exactly how that came to be, except that I think I'm really passionate about it. And a lot of my cases, especially the ones out of county, because I don't typically travel out of county for just a misdemeanor case. It's going to be a felony case. A lot of my cases involve concentrates and extracts now, and edibles, drinks, things like that. A lot of stuff coming out of Colorado. And 4 years ago, the police didn't know what wax or shatter or any of these, concentrated forms of cannabis even were. And then slowly but surely they caught on. I mean, 4 years ago, you could sit with a vape pen and be smoking wax in front of a police officer, and he wouldn't have a clue what you were doing. But they've wised up to all that. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing a lot of it, and concentrates and extracts. I mean, they're not new. Hash has been around for years and years and years, but the BHO, where they've gotten really sophisticated in extracting the trichomes off the leaf, the marijuana, the THC, has gotten a lot more sophisticated, and there's a lot more goodies out there than there used to be. And in Texas, that's a felony. It doesn't matter if you've got you could have
one gummy worm.
One gummy worm is a felony, and so even when we get cannabis legalized here in Texas, I'm not going to say when, but when we get it legalized, I'm not particularly worried, because I think that the extract cases I have now are people that were in possession of cannabis too. Mm. It's a misdemeanor and a felony that they get caught up with. They get the police find their cannabis and then keep looking, and then they find their gummy worm.
Right.
And
because gummy worms don't really smell as strong.
Right, but the cannabis is still going to lead them that way, especially if they do a decrim bill here first in Texas, which I think would get the most relief to the most people the fastest. That'd be the one I would push the hardest. But even still with that, even though it's decriminalized and they can still write you a citation, it's still going to give them the right to search. Mm-hmm. No different than if you're 16 and they smell cigarettes, and you're not allowed to have tobacco. And who
is it that's benefiting from keeping it illegal?
Well, there's a jillion theories about why cannabis was ever even made illegal. Mm-hmm. And I think it was actually a combination of things. I think that when cannabis was made illegal, they for some reason inexplicably included hemp. And when they included hemp in the equation, that was very, very favorable to the textile industries, to the paper industries, and to timber industries. Mm-hmm. And it was very favorable to the commerce.
It's got to be money related.
I think to some extent it was. Hemp, in the war effort, the farmers were subsidized to grow hemp because they needed it to make rope for the war. But then these folks named DuPont came out with this newfangled material called nylon, and then all of a sudden we don't need hemp anymore. And that could be one of the most profitable crops in this country. I mean, we could stop deforesting our lands. We could, there's just. Ask me who's benefiting from cannabis being illegal. I can't think of a soul. I know I passionately believe we need to change these laws. This gateway theory is just absolute bullshit. I mean, there is no nexus whatsoever in all these statistics that they're spitting out. 80% of the people that used heroin smoked marijuana. Well, 100% of them made Ovaltine. I mean, it's just, well, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no causation. There's no causal nexus. If anything, if there's a gateway drug out there, it's alcohol, and alcohol is legal because 100% of them have used alcohol. If cannabis propagates, cannabis being illegal in any way propagates illegal drug use in other areas, it's because they've created an atmosphere where there's a black market. And if you've got somebody that's selling marijuana and he hears about a good buy on some Molly or a good buy on some meth or something like that, he might want to offer more of an inventory. And there you go. And so, yeah, if you place cannabis in the hands of people that are licensed and regulated and care about following the rules, it's gonna completely remove the black market for the marijuana dealer, and then that's gonna free up law enforcement resources because they know if there's this traffic in and out of this house, on Easy Street, they're gonna know that that's probably not pot they're dealing in there. But I have people who come to me, they're in trouble, they've been caught with a small amount of marijuana, and they have no record, and they're obviously interested in getting the arrest removed from their record, and completely serve pro. It didn't happen, and oftentimes I'm able to do that. But it usually requires me to get them in some sort of a diversion program where there's going to be drug testing, and a lot of them at this point discover that they're really patients. They're really not recreational users. They are somebody that would be taking Valium or Xanax or something else, but for cannabis. They've been self-medicating for years and never even realized that's what they were doing. They just knew it made them feel better.
Right.
And when we take that away from them, and of course there are going to be people that hear me say this and go, oh, well, there's an addiction there. No, but when we take this away from them, it places them in a terrible hardship because now they're feeling bad about life. And so I thought this was America. I thought if people could find a way to make themselves feel better and it's not hurting anybody else, they ought to be able to do so.
Pursuit of happiness, right?
They'll let us pursue it. Just don't try to catch it.
Yeah, definitely don't try to smoke it.
Yeah.